Hello, my YouTube friends all over the world, viewers from around the world, however many things we can say. Welcome to everybody. It is Saturday. It's a little bit earlier than my 6 p.m. typical timeline, but I'm grateful that anybody shows up to watch at any point in time. So, hello, welcome. I wish you all a great Saturday. Happy weekend. Now that we're 1 week into the daylight savings time here in North America, um, I wanted to continue my feeling of the day. Basically, I'm listening to. Let me see. We're not going to scroll through the list today, but I'm scrolling through 90s metal classics on Spotify today and going through like Alice in Chains, and we're talking about Metallica, Pantera, Rage Against the Machine, Korn, Tool, Deftones, Dream Theater, Slipknot, all kinds of classics in here. Megadeth, Fear Factory. I saw a little bit of Seven Dust is in there, and Limp Bizkit actually made the list. Rob Zombie. So there's a lot of music in this playlist. There's like hundreds and hundreds of songs, or at least, what is this? How many songs? Doesn't say how many. 7 hours of songs. So I'm just enjoying the music today, as it were. Like having fun, going through some playlists, just enjoying the equipment, enjoying the spoils of labor, not getting too bogged down with like technicals. And I've been stressing myself out trying to figure out which amps I want to buy next. And for the other room, hello to Mirage Bryston, True Voice of Reason, like me some Rob Zombie. Yeah, some good music. See, the problem is when I do my lives, and I'm not doing all that well this week, I don't want to have copyright music in the background because it's going to just block my whole stream. Now I can put on stuff in the background that's exciting, but it's going to just mute. It's either going to demonetize the stream, which is not great, or it's going to end up getting muted, and I don't want to do that. There's a lot of my videos that have gone that way, and I've got to try to avoid it if I'm going to make some difference in the system. Just want to get some air in here. Yeah, I'm on the ground floor. It makes shipping and delivering and all that stuff really easy. Yeah, so still have the monitor audios in place. Coke is here. Coke, nice name. Annie, that's a nice name. Easy to read. I appreciate easy names on YouTube. That's Annie. There's two different Annies. Anthesius is here too. What's up, man? Yeah, we got the projector going. Really cool lighting today. Let me hold on before I get into this. You guys recognize the album? Anybody know classic metal? Before we get into this system, you guys hang on for a bit. Duke Babe says hi. That's probably a fake account. Let me show you what I got going on in this other room, and why I need some space. Like look at all the speakers I have in here. The Bucard Audio A10 still in the house. Got the PMC 2523Is, Radiant Acoustics still. They're just sitting here because they need an amplifier. Right now, these are powered, so the amplifier is built in. That's connected to my home theater system, so that doesn't really count. So in order to enjoy other speakers out here, I need to connect amplifiers to the Hagel preamp that I have. And I've been like going over so many different details. Oh, there's another, that's the other system that I have there too. I have SMSL integrated with some Cantil YU5 passives. So, I mean, like I literally have music in every room in here. It's pretty crazy stuff. Trying to bring all the goods and talk about what's what, and you know, enjoy the music as well, because that's really what it's about. I don't want to focus too much on details and specs and measurements and all that kind of shit because it gets boring, you know. I want to be able to answer questions, have some fun, you know, that kind of thing. Coke says, "What are you doing?" Say, "I'm listening to music." And Thi's just like, "Speakers, speakers, and speakers, and speakers." Yeah, it's a lot of speakers. Only have one system, but love it. Yeah. So those drivers look. Never mind. What? Oh, okay. I see what you're doing. The Purify drivers. We're almost over it. They've been out long enough now that a lot of people stop doing that. Almost. See, some people still kind of do it. Having a drink over here. You guys can see that in the mirror. I did my release radar video yesterday. That went really well. I think we went up to about an hour and 15 minutes. Really cool conversation. Towards the end of the conversation, it got a little bit silly. For those who really give a shit, I've got red socks on today. Not really anybody cares. Got my drink. I've got, yesterday I was so dehydrated and the weather changed so much that I had a terrible headache at the end of the day. I drank like 1.5 liters of water, had a Tylenol, and just went to sleep. It was really bad. And then we're waiting for this. We're waiting for this storm to pass by. Sunday we're supposed to have a lot of snow come in, so this is gonna move. This is gonna move into the area. Hold on, wow, what the fuck is going on? So this is gonna move into the area on Sunday, and it's gonna get really messy up here. So Chicago's obviously gonna get it tonight, and then up in this area, our area, we're gonna get hammered tomorrow. So that's the thing that's going on. That's got me. It's got me, in this kind of headache state. Psyphonyx socks, yeah, that's what I want. Definitely. That's my merch choice, socks, because my feet are always in the videos. It's so funny. I mean, if I was going to have a logo, should I make it just a pair of socks? Magic Man Gaming 2014. Wow. That's awesome. Says, "Hi, where's everybody chatting from? Damn, got to switch the tractor over tonight or tomorrow then." Uh-oh, tractor? You have a Lamborghini? Let me see what else was going on. See, Duke's babe took off. Annie probably was here for 2 seconds. Cokes, I don't know if Coke's still around, but nice to see some new people commenting. That's the best thing, is comments. I appreciate that a lot. Much better than if I wasn't. Okay, so does anybody else have Eversolo in their system? Does anybody want to hear about Eversolo? Maybe I'll put it in the description. It gets a lot of attention. The Eversolo videos definitely get a lot because people are very curious about how it functions and what it does and all that kind of stuff. What I want to do, this is the interface. So there's a music library, streaming, all this stuff for the system. So if I tap on screen, it shows what was on screen. But what I want to do is go into my music library. The device, no. There it is, files. Then I'm going to go into my music folder, and then my music folder is all separated into categories that I did on my computer, essentially. So I'm going to try to find a folder that's got drum and bass in it. Down here on the bottom, I've got like Nintendo music. So like gaming, this is stuff from like video games. Blaster Master, Life Focus, Punch Out, Metroid. Look at this Punch Out. Literally, it's Mike Tyson's Punch Out. Or like Super Mario Underworld. So the really cool thing is, like, I can do this because it's all saved on the hard drive, and I've been absolutely dying to do this for the longest time. I've wanted to have access to all of my drum and bass stuff. Let me see. Let's just put this one on. This will be our background music. And this is Masters of Atmospheric Drum and Bass. And it's all liquid drum and bass. Pretty good stuff. Hopefully it doesn't get flagged. It's old now, so God knows if any of these labels are still like tracking any of this stuff. This mix is on YouTube, I do believe. But it is amazing. Like, I can scroll through all of the music that I've saved forever, and I can just play anything from my iTunes library, compilations, any old albums that I've had, stuff that I had saved everywhere. I've even got like old-timey sort of country movies where they have like this saloon music. Try to find something that's lively. Sounds terrible. Anyways, yeah, saloon music. There's lots of stuff in here. I've got like music that was used for like mixes and cover songs. Where are those songs? Cover songs? Breakdancing music I've got in here. Lots of stuff. Let me see. The newest music. All kinds of stuff. Oh, so it's like you have monitor audio bookshelves connected. Yes. Ancola, hello. Yeah, these are the let me see. We're gonna do this one. I'm gonna turn this down.
This picture, truly one of the most intense ever filmed.
Yeah, Studio 89s. What's up from Belgium? Hello from Belgium. If anybody is new here, thank you for joining. I am just scrolling through music. We're talking about all things hi-fi and audio. There's a look of the system, the Eversolo A8, the Michi P5 Pre, which is essentially just monstering my whole system right now. And then Purify monoblocks, Buckeye Audio assembled, and SVS, then monitor. So, Ancola, did you want to know anything about the monitors? I did have the PMCs in here for a little while. I enjoy them. They've got a nice top end when they're balanced right. I think the PMCs stage a little bit better. They're a little bit low. Like, I wish the tweeter was a little bit higher. Like, on-axis tweeter is a little bit strange from these. Let me see. Anthesius' answer, not a Lamborghini. I have a Lamborghini, though. In the form of a tractor. Well, you do know that Lamborghini made tractors before they made sports cars. That's the joke. I assume you knew that. This track is actually it's a mixed track by Diesel Boy, who is a American drum and bass DJ. I can actually show everybody this stuff on my phone too. I have the same Eversolo app on my phone. So I don't know why they're showing Excision. This is also in the list, but not this one. Okay, connected the dots just now. Yeah, that's it. It's because Lamborghini's origin. Files, storage. What else can I dig up out of my music library? Man, this is the fun of music. It's just sharing with people. What else do I have in this list? There's so many. See, I've got everything listed by name, right? So if I go into S, then it will show me what I have under S. This is Sleep Token albums. System of a Down, Santana, Sarah McLachlan, Savant, Scar Symmetry, Seal, Scorpions. A lot of stuff that's going to get me muted. I love some Seven Dust albums, but it's all going to get me muted, so I don't want to do that. So that's why I'm playing drum and bass right now instead. Seek, really amazing stuff. A lot of fun stuff, you know. Yeah, so like my whole library's in here, and it essentially it doesn't show exactly how many files unless I go to the screenshots. There's the screen. Yeah. So what's the question is, think your Arundel's better? Let me see. I gotta read out this question. This track is just so muddy right now. You think your Arundels are better than the speakers you're testing lately? And what do you think about KEF R3 Meta you had? Do you think the GR Research crossover kit will make it better? That's hard to say. That's Albino MX77 asked that. That's a new name too. I don't see the name often. And I thank you for joining and watching. If you're not a regular, then become a regular. Anybody who comments and asks questions that are actually meaningful, I appreciate it. Do I think the crossover package would make it better? The only thing I think Danny changed was one resistor, and anybody could do that. Anybody could open it up and change one resistor. That is if you like more treble. And if you like more treble, you could just turn the treble up on your system. You don't need to change a crossover for that reason. It doesn't make them faster, doesn't make them sound quote unquote better. It might make them measure flat, but we know that measurements are not the way it sounds. I don't give a shit what and who measures what. It gives you an idea what it sounds like objectively, but as soon as you put it in a room with anything else, cables, gear, room, floor, treatments, no treatments, couch, seating position, there's 100 other factors other than one resistor that are going to make it sound different. You can't just say one kit and then it's better. That's such lazy audiophile thinking, honestly. So no, my final answer is no, the kit is not going to make them sound better. It says make them sound better in general. Would I like them more on their own with no other tweaks, with a little bit more treble? Yes. And to go back to the first part of it is, do I think my Arundel sounded better than what I've had in here so far? In a way, yes. And I'm gonna answer Ancola's question, which is, can those small woofers do electronics or drum and bass like Noisia Dust Up? So let me put Noisia on, and I have let me see. How am I going to do this? So I'm not playing through Spotify now. I am playing through the Ever Solo itself. Okay, we're going to stop that one. We're going to go over to okay, so I am going to play some bass tracks. I'm going to turn my subs off. So I mean the crossover kit has better quality parts, so that's probably less smearing. He didn't say he was offering a full kit, did he? Cuz all I heard was if he offered a full kit with more parts, and I discussed this yesterday, it wouldn't fit in the box. So I think all he's offering or all he suggested was changing the one crossover that brings the treble down. And they did that. Kef did that because once it starts bouncing off your floor, your ceiling, your walls, all at the same energy because it's a coaxial driver. As soon as that stuff starts bouncing off the rest of your rooms, Kef knows that most people don't treat their rooms. So it's designed in such a way with less treble so it doesn't overpower your room. If you give it more treble, you better have a treated room. I obviously have a treated room. I would probably appreciate it a little bit more. All right, let me get to this bass section. I'm going to call up if you guys do you guys follow me on the Instagram? Not the Instagram, but the Spotify and other profiles. You guys can follow my account. All my playlists are public. Going to find playlist by me. Dun, dun, dun. You guys can see what I'm doing. This gets a little crazy if I'm not showing what I'm doing. I have a bass section here. Bass tunes. Okay, we're gonna do some Techmaster PEB bass. This is like car audio bass. And I'm gonna turn off my subs because the speakers are running full range. So this is how I'm turning my subs off. That's why I got those. All right, so now we're gonna do some bass. They're not even moving. Let me see. Probably not going to see any movement if I'm honest. Probably not. I don't even know how to get it closer. No. Barely. So there's quite a bit of excursion there. Right? And now I'm at the back of the room. So you can hear the bass back here is pretty significant. And the system is at like 60, which is a lot of volume. So yeah, they can handle it. Right? You guys can see the excursion, yeah? That should make a fairly good clip. Yeah. So can they handle bass? Yeah. And that's not obviously that's not like normal music bass. I can't think of a track. Hold on. Let me try to find one. This Yeah, this one might be a good track. The only thing that I'm noticing they're slot ported, right? So they need to have like good amount of venting. And honestly, that bass is crazy. If I turn the subs on, it's even louder. So that's really good. So the kit costs around 400 euros, so I don't think that resistor costs that much. No, you're 100% right. That resistor might cost $1. Who knows? Probably not even that. Sandcast resistor of a certain value. Problem is, what's the value? Any recommendations? This is arguing about... Not arguing, sorry. I say argue in the wrong context sometimes, but I just mean presented with an idea. Let me see. I'm gonna put on Syncato in the background because I know that stuff doesn't get flagged. Hold on. I'm gonna read the other comment in a second. Oh, I can't put on Synestia. So I have Park R600s, which are medium towers. 6000 play, which isn't all that much powerful. Yes, it doesn't have enough oomph. Said for the speakers to shine, that's why I'm looking for amps around 6K. $6,000? Bro, those are 900 each US. And they're 500 watts into 4 ohm Purify module amps. Don't spend $6,000 on amps. Get yourself some Purify amps. Stop fucking around with amps that are $6,000. You're gonna break your back just trying to put it in place, and then it's gonna heat up your apartment because it's only 50% efficient. Trash that. That's my advice is don't overspend on amps. You don't need to spend that kind of money anymore. Buckeye Audio in the US makes a pair of very new, very highest end Purify module amplifiers, the 9040 models, for 1200 and some odd each amp, 1300 each. NAD M33 V2. So M33 uses Class D modules. Yeah, it's the same thing. They're using Purify modules built into that chassis. The only thing that's different is the power supply. 4 of these amps cost less than the 33, dude. 4 amps. You could buy amplifier speakers for less than you're spending on an integrated. Don't fucking do it. That's my advice. Don't do it. You could serve yourself way better by doing some other stuff. Uncola says $300 resistor, $400 tube connectors. Power supply is better on the... How do you know? The NAD power supply is better than what's in these amps? Really? How do we know? My monoblocks came with 40,000 microfarad cat boards, so the power supplies are actually really, really good power supplies. So find out what M33s use. Open it up and have a look. I bet you the power supply is no better than what's in mine. Honestly, it's no secret anymore. Once you open the chassis and you find out what people are using, then it's no longer like you're just regurgitating what the reps said about it. I mean, unless you talk to their engineers and they tell you exactly why it's better or worse or different or worse, then it's, it's just this person says, that person says whatever. It's just a whole bunch of people on YouTube arguing over shit they don't know about. And it's actually ridiculous. So I'm not saying it isn't. I'm saying, how do you know? Right? So the debate can't be for sure I know one way or the other because, like I said, I haven't asked their engineers. I do trust NAD, but you're also spending distributor cost, dealer cost, all the way up and above the price of that unit. I mean, yeah, it comes with a lot of other stuff too. Streamer built in, calibration built in, multiple sub output built in. Nelia 500 blocks, and they are better than Egantalk modules. Well, that's arguable, because the NX core, the NX 500s, the Hypex NX 500s are better than their NC 500, and the Nelia boards, the Nelia boards are meant for DIY, and technically speaking, the new Purified Gen 2 boards are better than those. Technically speaking. And that's why I said, if you go to the Buckeye website and you look at the 9040 boards, which are the newest boards, they have the best specs in the world. The best specs in the world. Go look. It's quad 0.6% THD. That's better than everything. And they also hit 1200 watts. So you couldn't ask for better for $1,300. Buckeye doesn't ship to Belgium, so you're gonna have to piggyback. I don't see why he doesn't ship to Belgium. That's weird. So the good thing is, I think all that stuff is available, and it's from Europe, so you could order it locally and build it yourself. They sell kits. That's what I'm thinking about doing. I'm thinking about buying the 9040 eval kit, eval 5 kit. And that comes out to like $1,100, $1,200 Canadian, which is even less if you're in Europe. Comes with the input board, the module, the speaker outputs are going to be here with some wires. They give you a pack of wires. The problem is, yeah, you're going to need to buy a power supply. You're going to need to buy a chassis. You're going to need to figure out and learn what this stuff does, which is good because, like I said, otherwise you're going to be listening to a bunch of people on the internet telling you, what's what. That's crazy. 750? Output power, 750 watts, 0.1%. Come on. It's insane. Oh, still downloading. Anyways. Yeah, it's you know what? It's... I was recommended by a colleague. It's hard to say these days. It depends. It really depends on what your aptitude is. If you just want to buy something and get it over with, Hagel 190V is for vinyl as well. That's also a really good unit. Hagel integrateds in general have a good sound. There's enough power. The damping helps with the high frequency. So if you wanted to increase tightness and bass and frequency, then Hagel will do that. But then again, so will these. They have the same characteristics. The damping factor in these boards, because of how they're made and the feedback and control works with Class D, it's the same as Hagel. They've got essentially the same sound. And I would love to put these up against the H30. I don't think Hagel's going to let me borrow one, but I would demo that. I told the guys that my local shop that I want to bring my monoblocks up to the shop, and put my Buckeye amps against Name, Musical Fidelity, Rotel, Michi, and just see what happens, because it's essentially the same power, roughly, and I want to see what kind of differences actually happen. Oh yeah, I forgot I turned my subs off, didn't I? I barely even noticed. These sound so good back here in the position that I forgot my subs were off. It's only the subs are only doing 40 and below, because the speakers can do to 50, and I've just got like a little bit of a spread there, so the phase control can match them up. So what is the? You're talking about R600 speakers, which are already. What are they? R600s are a little. What did I hear about those? They're balanced. I don't think they were said to be exciting. Are the 600s are the dual 8 towers, right? Is that what we're talking about? Poke R600. I'm looking them up now. No, it's the middle towers. So that's the 2.5 way. Yeah, the 2.5 way mid tower. It's not the 700s or whatever they are. Yeah, I think they were fine. Were they measured? Hold on, let's find out if they were measured. Yeah, the 700s have the 2.8s. No, that's the 500s. Reserve 200s. Of course, Andrew had them both. What's this one? R200s. You got to think that the 200s were basically the same. I don't see measurements. No, I don't see measurements for those. This is what I always do. I just go online and find out if they were measured or not. See if anybody's got a response. Oh my god, so many buttons. Stop it. What is that? So it looks like elevated tweeter level. Is this the 200? Yeah. So that looks like elevated treble in the 200. So the tweeter's essentially just flat in room. So which one is this? That's the 700. 700's got a dedicated mid, so, and still elevated treble. So they measure well, and I think they seem like a balanced sound. What I was saying earlier about Kef is the Kef R3 metas, or the R series metas, are all rolled down because it's a coax driver. It's not tweeter and mid-range separated. So there's a reason for that. So Andrew said they sounded like 200 but more full of bass. Yeah, the 700s. And then the 200s plus subs would be the same thing. So essentially what I know about Hagel is Hagel brings everything into more focus. What it does is tighten everything up. And I have a feeling that that's what these Class D amps are doing the same too. I mean, given the power supply, the way that all that stuff works out, I mean, it should be fine. If you like that sound, then Hagel will improve them. And if you can't get Buckeye amps and you can't get anybody else that makes those boards locally, yeah, that's rough. When they have stuff that's made like only in these certain areas and they won't ship because it costs so much, that's rough. You'd have to have somebody buy them somewhere else and then send them to you. And then also think about right now, Black Friday's coming, so there's going to be sales maybe in certain areas. That's what I'm waiting for. And then think about shipping. The shipping lanes and everything around Christmas only have a couple of weeks to get it out there before it starts to get really crazy. And that's what I'm thinking about. I wanted to get 2 more Buckeye amps. I just don't know if I have the money for it right now. I need them for the other room, and I want to have something maybe not the same level that I have now, and not the 9040s, because, you know, Audiophonics sells their DIY Class D amps. Audiophonics, I don't know Audiophonics. But yeah, there are options. And I was considering doing, if I can't part out the power supply and the boards for me, and I can't make my own 9040 boards, I'll probably just buy Buckeyes locally, and I'll buy the level that's Gen 2, but a level down from these. So they're essentially the same power, but they won't have the cap board and they won't have the same power supply. It'll be a Hypex power supply and the new Gen 6225 boards. Same rated power, essentially 500 into 4 ohms. But I really don't need more than that because it's going to be going on my desktop system. So imagine all those speakers I had out in the other room. One of those sets of speakers is going to get the purified Gen 2 stuff. So True Voice of Reason, can't wait to show you what I've been working on. I'll shout at you once I get the 3D point. I've actually got some really cool ideas for new towers for me. I don't know how to do it yet, but I've got some ideas. It's going to be a split tower. So tweeter mids in one tower, bass in the other tower. I just like the idea of that, so I can place them the right way, you know what I mean? Like tune the bass, have them faster, analog crossovers, all that kind of shit. Crossovers on the outside. I want to have an external crossover box. Yeah. But, I mean, I can't build any of the stuff for myself. Even a flatback. Well, Black Ocean Audio, in a way, they have... Well, I mean, No, not CSS. Who else does it? There's a couple... I mean, I have future plans with Black Ocean Audio. It just depends on how well the first set goes. The second set should be even better. He's got an MTM already, and then his bass tower is actually under what I would want. I want him to double the bass towers. Essentially, instead of 2 drivers, I want 4 drivers in the bass tower. And then I can position the bookshelves in the right way so that they're not, conflicting. Yeah, I've got some ideas, some speaker design ideas. Problem is I can't do flat packs. It's more technical. Like what I want out of them is more technical. It's going to cost me more in materials. And I'm going to have to get somebody else to do it for me. And then nobody's going to do it for free. So, that's a big problem. The amps, too, same thing. I want to make my own amps. It's just, I got to afford the parts. It's just a sticky season right now. Have to pay for a lot of other stuff. Yeah, to go back to my original point earlier today is to sit back, enjoy some music that you like, stop analyzing, stop picking everything apart, stop arguing and debating yourself, like, do I need this? Do I need that? Do I want to do this? Blah, blah, blah. It's just sometimes just, putting carpet on the floor or moving them 3 or 4 feet is, 33 to 40. Yeah, that's a pretty good range. I mean, I think that what I would want out of the bass towers is a 4-driver sealed box, so I can still put subs to go below that 33 range. You know what I mean? Like to 20 hertz. I would still want a subwoofer because I don't think that I can get enough output out of a tower. Oh, we were talking about these earlier today. Check these out, yo. So that's a long ribbon tweeter with 8 6 drivers. And then inside the cabinet, they have a 12-inch. They have 2 12-inch woofers inside the tower aiming down. Or like one at the bottom, one somewhere else. Pretty cool stuff. I was just talking about that earlier today. That's this one. B&M Masterclass design, really, really cool stuff. I think that looks really cool. They've got like this compression opening. So it's 8 6-inch drivers, then 2 12-inch drivers, 22 to 24. I guess they're powered. I mean, why would you have analog and XLR balanced ins? Digital connect, so they must be powered. Oh, so that's the high frequency? Cylindrical radiator. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. My arms hurt. Can't do that. Gotta rest my arms, y'all. I got a bit of an injury around the Audio Fest, and then my workplace just, Mirage Bryson says, I love the look of those. Yeah, like all uniform, all white, all really, yeah, exactly. And I think that's why I'm going to really love the KEF speakers, because the KEF R series and the reference series KEFs have such a beautiful look. They're so uniformed and just, amazing. For me, I think they're amazing. So smooth looking, uniform colored, I mean, even the R3, let's get technical here. So even the R3 metas sounded really great. They're so balanced. They fit in any space. They take to EQ very well. So if you want more treble, just turn them up. And there's all the cabinet and the internal bracing for the R11s, which I'm expecting. So they have the crossover network here in the bottom. I figured there was another one somewhere else, but I guess not. I guess everything is just inside. Then obviously 4 6s, the bass goes down to about 25 in room. So yeah, pretty good. What's your speaker under 5K? What are you talking about? MX77. What's my selection speaker under 5K? I mean, I really like the Radiant acoustics that I have. Purified drivers, radiating sides, passive radiators on the sides, AMT tweeter, waveguide. They sound amazing. They're, around 3K. If you like that sound, of course. It's a smooth top end, even though it's a little spicy. They say Clarity 6.2s from Radiant Acoustics have that name for a reason. And just look at all the reviews of them. Nemo Propaganda. I think Steve Huff had them for a bit. I don't remember. I think Aaron's Audio Corner, he's got them measured, talks about what their output performance is dialed in for. They're very directive, so you don't get room bouncing. They're very like on-axis high results, and you don't get boundaries. You don't get room boundaries interfering with them. So it doesn't matter if you have it treated or not. Just point them at your face, and then you get everything you want out of it. So those BMs remind me a touch of the IRSV. I don't even know what that is. You're gonna make me Google it, bro. IRS 5, okay. Which is what, speaker? Oh, yes. And this is exactly what I'm talking about with like tower and, tower with tweeters and mids and a bass tower. I mean, that's twice as much as I want. I don't need 6 woofers. I only want 4. So basically, like, cut it down to here. And I don't want that many. I only want, like, a little bit, like only like this section in a thin panel. So get rid of the side wood and then get rid of all of these, and I only want like this much in a thin cabinet, and then the woofers behind it. Essentially, that's what I want. Under 6 feet tall. 6 feet is like the most. If they're about my height, then I can deal with that. So that's essentially like, that's why I really like those Borison X6s, because the X6s have that profile. They have that thin sort of profile. You know what I mean? Like slope backwards, angled backwards. They have a nice profile. That's why I like these. 174 pounds, but I mean, I like them for that reason. They're narrow. They've got a lot of stuff going on. Yeah. What else is going on? Some other topics. Anybody else? I hope that so Paul McGowan previous reference speakers. Yes. And I'm sure that he loves those. They're very imposing. My thing with speakers like that is they're massive. So and Exoticas, yes. I was also thinking about those. I like the way that they look. I was just looking at them today, if I'm perfectly honest with you. And they're $6,000 Canadian for a pack. They'll send you the kit, flat pack, you just assemble them, and then you can get whatever you want for subs. Open baffle speakers in my room. I don't know what would happen in here. I don't know if my space is too small. I'm getting open baffle speakers later next week. So, yes, Paul did have those in his room before. I remember him setting them up when he started his channel and talked all about trying to get the bass right and how the back wall is curved, and they used all those tubes to balance out the bass. I love that everybody's so interactive today. Thank you. And for anybody that's watching on a TV that can't comment, I get it. I understand. You're just here for the ride, or maybe you've tuned in and put the phone down and you're doing other stuff. Thank you for that. I do appreciate it. Hopefully my audio-only version of the podcast is worth listening to. How many speakers do I own? 3 pairs. I'm borrowing 3 other pairs. Radiant Acoustics, Bucard Audio, and the stuff that's in my home theater system. I'm borrowing the monitors. I'm borrowing the PMCs. So I will be getting... Actually, no, that's not true. I did buy the other set. They're not here yet. So 4 pairs. 5 pairs, because my other bedroom. There's 5 pairs that I own. Sorry about that. I own a lot. They're just spread out. And, there's some other smaller stuff that I own that I don't actually listen to all the time. So it's too many, essentially. And the problem is the Bucard Audios are powered, and I'm running them from the preamp. But in order to listen to anything else in that other space, say if I wanted to run the monitor audios out there, I need amplifiers to go out there, but then I don't have these to stay in here. So I can't have 2 systems running. I have to run back and forth. And that shit ain't happening. So I need the other amps for the other system for passive bookshelves and other things. So if I'm honest, I need to sell a couple of things first before I move on, because the goal was to level up the speakers, to get something like even better. And in order to get to that next level, I need to afford it somehow. And the only way I can really get there right now is sell some stuff, because I'm not really working on any other side projects that are going to get me paid that much anyways. I did reluctantly decide against the X6 towers, essentially because they're so big. The cases they come in are so big. They're too heavy to move around. I don't think that this is a good idea. even though they were like 30K Canadian, which is amazing for that much speaker. It's just a lot of fucking speaker. I love the look of them. I mean, if I could get them at half the weight and maybe build them myself, I would do that. You think do you think I could build a tower out like this? Maybe not curved, maybe just tilted, but use Dayton audio drivers and then a mid tweeter in section instead of a planar magnetic tweeter. So instead of it being 2.5 way through here, I can make it 3-way and balance out everything else. I think that would be super cool. But I mean, it wouldn't look as good. It would, you know what I mean? It would be an experiment. So I don't know about any of that. I'm curious about it though. Let me see. Trying to find Danny's speakers. So here's Danny's. N Exotica's, it's 4 woofers and then MTM up top, but it's all open baffle. See? But $6,000, or like this is for the lower crossover kit. So yeah, sonic caps, foil inductors, better quality. Yeah, 93 dB sensitive, 54 inch tall, 50 to see 50, and 50 is not bad in room because I'm going to be putting a sub anyways. But like for a giant tower like that, you're talking about, it's wait till you see the design. Yeah, True Voice of Reason. Stop teasing me, bro. Stop teasing me. Just, yeah. I mean, I that's what I like, is tall, narrow towers, 6.5s or smaller, done in the best way possible. Even the CSS towers they did recently that are like in different sections, so you stack them in different cabinets. I love that kind of idea. I love the idea of modular. It makes it so much easier. Instead of one giant box, the speaker set comes in a bunch of different smaller boxes. Then you can get it inside the room. Albion. I'm thinking of buying 3 SMSL PAX GAN amps. I was just looking at a bunch of those. The problem with those and all of the reviews, it's got a power on click and you can't turn off the volume control. Putting them in mono for my front end home theater. Do I have an experience with SMSL? I've been doing research all fucking week. Instead of paying $900 for the Buckeyes, which are going to cost me like 11 or more Canadian, the SMSLs come from Amazon. Even the VMVA1 Pros, same GANFET, Infineon, whatever. The PAX just has more power, the better power supply. It's got more details. Everybody says that it's a tighter sound, even if you can't disable the volume control. Problem is that I've heard about those amps and the way that they look like on measurements is they're an inconsistent power. Even with the power amp that they have, everything, it's an inconsistent power curve. So one of the cheapest ways to get your hands on GANFET amps, and some of the best, even in mono, it's a good idea. I'm considering the 2 of them because it's still cheaper than the Buckeyes. But the Buckeye Purify amps measure way better. They're more reliable. I trust Dylan at Buckeye to like work with me on those amps, and I don't know how SMSL's quality is. Also, I heard that the amp modules they use from Infineon, the chips they use, they're already discontinued. They don't make those chips anymore. So if anything happens to those amps, you're going to have a hell of a time trying to repair or work with them. So I don't know about going that way. My best bet is to bank on the stuff that's been measured well, like, you know, the guy, I mean, okay, so what do I say? Why do I have so much faith in Purify? So the N83, what is it, 390 something? Purify Egan Talk amps from back in the day. They were like a craze back in the day, and those were the like ET400 boards. The M22, their M23 NAD M23 boards are essentially just a modified power supply in front of Purify boards. The new Marantz amp 10s have the 9040 boards, but they're modified for Marantz. So Marantz is using Purify boards in their top of the line amps right now. Like the engineers picked those out. All of the Purify stuff measures into the 103 dB Synad range, all of them on ASR. And Audioholics measured the M23 amps and said it was the best amps they ever measured. And now the new Purify boards are even better than those. So, that's why. I put all my faith into Purify because they just come up with the best numbers. All the measurements in the bookshelves, all the measurements in the drivers, all of the specs around the world, all of the people measuring their stuff just comes out better. So GAN-fed amps, Orchard Audio is the other brand that I like that has GAN-fed amps. GAN-M sounds weird. I don't know who calls it GAN-M. But yeah, Orchard Audio's a little more expensive though. Better power supplies, amazing sound, better looking chassis than all of the other stuff. It's just you're gonna pay more for them. Who else is running GAN-fed right now? The top of the line Techniques integrated amp is a GAN-fed amp module. So what about Primaire? They are similar to Purify Encore. They are Class D. They run a different kind of tech. Gato from Denmark. Gato amps. Let me show you what those look like. Those are a really cool design as well. You might like those, and they're close to you, so... Oh, can I show off the other speakers that I'm thinking about getting? I've asked about them, and they might not. They may or may not show up yet. Yeah, boy. Can't zoom in. Why can't I zoom in? Anyways, you guys see what I'm talking about. These are the CLC 65s, all Purify drivers. Purify tweeter, Purify woofers, Purify woofer in the front, mid, passive radiators. That's the problem. Yeah. These are thick. Yeah, exactly. It's like that classic ATC, PMC, revival audio sort of look, like they have like the tweeter with the dome mid-range and it's like that, but it's all Purify. Even a Purify tweeter, and it's a crazy amazing tweeter. Billy MK is by Purify or Ice Power, I think. I don't think they're using Purify in the Billy amps. Nemo just did a review on those, so yeah, you could check those out. True Voice of Reason, I dabble in SI amplification design. Let me see, I'll show you the amps. So here's the Gato amps. So there's a pre-stereo DAC headphone amp. There's the phono, there's the power amps, I believe, the integrated. Dun, dun, dun. Why are they not loading? There's the power amp. 4-channel, 6-channel mono amp. That's a lot for a mono amp, but it's got good specs. That's the whole thing. They're using like a different kind of architecture to get the sound that they want. And Jay Ziagi reviewed a number of these a while ago. Twin FET technology, so that's actually pretty cool architecture. It's a lot. I mean, they're not cheap. Stuff isn't inexpensive. Yeah, anyways. So that's another recommendation. I think it's regular MOSFETs. They're just paired differently. There's so much stuff out there. You know, it's impossible. It's impossible for me to just give all my recommendations because I can only recommend based on specs. I haven't had it in-house. And that's the best way to give advice, is have it in-house. ATOL too. I've reviewed them at shows. I've only ever heard them at a hotel. It's not fair for me to comment on stuff that I've never had in my house. And so far, I've had Orchard here. I've had Rotel here. I've had Buckeye Audio here, and that's about it. I haven't really had a lot of equipment roll through this place, which is kind of sad. But you know, my point of view is to look at resources for information, to compare specs, and to understand what the technology is supposed to do. Like Hagel's sound engine is amazing, and especially if you're getting like an H400 would be fucking bananas. I mean, even a 190 is good enough for most people's rooms. And I think that's the magic behind a really good integrated amp with good control, is you don't need it louder, right? Like, it's going to project really loud without all that other shit. Now, the only thing is, it's an all-in-one unit. Is the streamer module inside good? I don't know. What kind of inputs does it have for an external streamer? I don't know. You know, it's you kind of like splitting the difference when you go that way. I moved to completely separates, essentially, because I want to be able to part out what I'm doing with this stuff. And I almost can't believe I'm here now. I mean, this preamp is crazy. It feels so good to just use, the way that the volume clicks. Honestly, it's one of the best feeling. Massive. I mean, it is a really big unit. See how much it sticks out past everything else. It's fucking crazy. But it is really, really great. Amazing bass sound, full dynamic sounds in all the highs and staging. I mean, of course, I'm using 2 monoblocks, so there's no crosstalk. But yeah, pretty good stuff. I'm enjoying it. And then later next week, it's 2 more speakers. The Kef R11s and the Mako speakers are going to be delivered. So I'm getting the Mako Macarias, the open baffle Makos, with the amplifiers they had at Toronto Audio Fest. So they're going to drop off the whole system. That means this whole front end next week is going to be extremely busy. I don't know how the hell I'm going to set all that stuff up. But I'm going to do it because that's what's got to get done. All right, boys. All my thanks. You guys are wonderful for sticking around and having a listen to the music with me today. We've been listening to Syncato pretty much this whole time. Just CD quality there. I will update later on with other progress. I think the SMSL is still probably one of the better buys for that kind of amp, with the idea that it's got 2 caveats. You know, the frequency dependent sort of sound. When it gets loud, the high frequency doesn't perform as well. Why, I don't know, but that's one of the issues. And the other thing is the op amp, it doesn't have a dedicated mono mode. Unlike the PA200 or the VMV A1 Pro. The PA200 and the VMV AM Pro are not as powerful. They're not quite as refined, but they have dedicated mono modes and they're cheaper. So it's like, depending on how critical you're going to be, like the same reason why I'm thinking, do I get the Buckeye Audios and just bite the bullet? It's going to serve me better later because they're going to do amazing. Say if I wanted to use this one for bass and the other set for high frequency, I could buy amp with Purify. Holy shit. What do you think my heart's telling me to do? You guys can type it in. You guys know what I'm going to do. It's just going to be a lot to afford. I got to do it right. I got to sell my other stuff. I don't need that other Hagel preamp, and I don't need the Buchard Audio powered speakers if I'm moving to amps. So I'm going to have stuff for sale if anybody's really interested. I mean, really interested. You have to email me. Yeah, anyways, next week's going to be exciting. Thanks for joining this week. I appreciate you. Thank you very much for tuning in and commenting, subscribing, and all those things. For those who watch after the fact, thanks for checking everything out. We've been on for about an hour and 11 minutes. I'm going to get out of here, rest my face. True Voice of Reason, send me an email, man. Stop teasing me. I hate that shit. People surprise me with stuff and I hate it. I don't like the idea of playing with people like that. Like, if you know something and you say something, just spit it out. You know, I don't think there's any reason for that. Secrets and whatever. But enjoy the rest of the day. Brace for the weather, Mirage. I know it's going to be crazy for us, for everyone else. Good luck out there. Email me if you really need to talk about it. Join the Discord, and we'll talk about it in the future. All right? I'll see you guys soon.